Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Jaden Philogene, a left-wing player that Barcelona do want to sign for this summer. And we're also going to be talking about Barcelona renewing the contract of Toni Fernandez, who is one of the best La Masia gems right now. And then lastly, we are going to be talking about the post that Barcelona had earlier today. They did claim that Joao Felix and Joao Cancelo will not continue at Barcelona anymore. So there's plenty to discuss for today's video. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. I'm happy that you guys are here. If you guys are Barcelona fans, this is going to be the channel for you. This is where we do talk about everything regarding FC Barcelona. And so if you do like FC Barcelona and you guys have been fans of the club for many years, this will be the perfect channel for you. If you guys want to be updated on the latest regarding FC Barcelona, just click the subscribe button, because very soon, within these next 48 hours, Barcelona will be getting the green light to sign the players that they do want. The transfer window is about to open, and so things are about to get very, very hot. And so let's first talk about Jaden Philogene. And it says here, according to sources in Germany, that Barcelona have submitted an official offer for Hull City for Jaden Philogene. It is a one-year loan with an obligation to buy in 2025 of around 20 to 23 million euros. So we have talked about this player before, but what we are going to be doing in this video is speak about exactly why Hansi Flick wants Jaden Philogene and why he would be the perfect fit, so we can have a better understanding on who this player is. So he is a 22-year-old left winger who does represent England and Hull City, and he has signed with Hull City until 2026. He currently does play in the second division in England, which is the championship. He was raised and nurtured by Aston Villa through the academy years, and he was being switched through Stoke City, through Cardiff by loans. Aston Villa kept sending the player to different clubs, and eventually Aston Villa said, okay, you know what, no more loans, let's sell the player for 5.8 million euros, and they did. They sold him for 5.8 million euros on September 1st, 2023, and he officially went to Hull City. And I don't know what happened to the player, but I believe that ever since he got sold, maybe he saw that as a warning call or a wake-up call that told him that he does need to improve, because he probably saw this transfer and he said, oh my god, I'm being sent to the second division. Basically, I am no longer good enough to play in first division football. And so when he got to Hull City and he played the 33 matches with Hull City in this previous season, he did score 12 goals and provided 6 assists, because if you look at the previous seasons that he has had with the other clubs, he has never repeated these numbers. So to score 12 goals and provide 6 assists in 33 matches is very impressive for a player like him. He's definitely a late bloomer, because for him to do this at 22 years old, you and me can count so many other players and name so many other players that can score past 12 goals and provide past 6 assists at the age of 19 or 20 years old. There's many players like that. So he is a late bloomer, but still young enough for him to take over the world. In the 2023-2024 season within the league, he was ranked in 3rd place in terms of shots total per 90 with 3.69. He was ranked in 8th place in terms of shots on target per 90 with 1.25. He was ranked in 5th place in successful take-ons, which was a total of 87, and then was ranked in 4th place in terms of carries into the penalty area, which was again a total of 87. That is probably the most important thing for a left winger. You have to be very good in successful take-ons and carries into the penalty area, and Philogene is ranked extremely high. He's in the top 5. Also, if we look at the heat map here, you can very well see that sometimes he did see the right wing position, but I want us to notice something very important here. You can see that the majority of the time he does play on the left wing, but there's a lot of redness, right, very deep in the field, as if he was playing as a left back sometimes. So he saw the ball a lot in his own half, and not just only in the final third. Now, what could possibly explain this? Well, if we look at these stats here, you can see that he played 11 matches as a attacking midfielder on the left, and then his second most used position was as a midfielder on the left with a total of 9 matches. And then if you keep going to the very bottom, you can see that he played other matches where he was playing as a right midfielder, as a left defensive midfielder. It was very strange, right? But most of his positions were as a attacking midfielder on the left, and he played a total of 11 matches and scored 4 goals and provided 2 assists. That is where he was the most effective. And so because he was playing as a attacking midfielder who played on the left flank, it does simply tell us that Hull City were functioning under a 4-4-2 and 4-2-3-1 system. He is an attacking left midfielder, and because he was given that role as an attacking left midfielder, you are also given duties to defend, and that is exactly what this player did. His defensive contributions is extremely strong, as you can see in his characteristics. His tackling is strong, his finishing is strong, his dribbling is very strong. The only weakness that he does have is his aerial duels, but in terms of defensive contributions, he's very high in this. For a left winger like him, that is amazing. So he's definitely a Doku-esque type of player that defends like Rafinha, and that's very important, because I believe that not only is this showing us where is his best role and what he can do, but it's also telling us what Hansi Flick is trying to do in terms of the whole team. Because if he is looking for a left winger that can play as a attacking left midfielder, he's basically saying he is going to build a 4-2-3-1 system. This player, Jaden Philogene, for sure does fit in a 4-2-3-1 system with him playing on the left flank. Like literally, that is what makes Jaden so appealing, is because he fits the system based off what Hansi Flick wants to do at Barcelona. We're going to be playing a 4-2-3-1 system. These are the kind of transfers that make me believe, right, that the scouting department are actually scouting. Like they're not out here just saying, oh my god, like everybody's talking about this player, right, because they see him all around social media. Like they're not out here looking at the most expensive players in the world of football. No, the scouting department are actually scouting, looking to see if there's any hidden gems, even if it's in the second division. And a hidden gem can very well be Jaden Philogene. So it's a low risk, high reward type of transfer. As for the role for the player, most likely he's going to be given the backup role to Nico Williams, a player that will be costing us 58 million euros. So for sure, he will be the backup to Nico within the 4-2-3-1 system. Yes, there might be some games where we do play in the 4-3-3, but mainly it's going to be the 4-2-3-1. And to me, having Jaden Philogene as a backup to Nico, it's amazing. And it tells us exactly what Hansi Flick does want at Barcelona. He wants pure left wingers, pure right wingers, which is exactly what he wanted at Bayern Munich. And he made Gnabry, Sané, Coman as pure deadly wingers. He wants to repeat the exact same thing at Barcelona with Nico Williams, Jaden Philogene, possibly Rafinha, and for sure Lamine Yamal. Because when you have pure wingers, you have wingers who can dribble, have great explosiveness, have great 1v1 capabilities, and they know how to counter. I can see Jaden doing all of these things and defending very well at the back when we need him to. Now this could also lead towards Hansi Flick saying, because I want these players, because I want Barcelona to look a certain way, we do not need Joao Felix. Because let me tell you, Joao Felix is not a player that gives you these type of characteristics. He's much more of a 10 or a second striker. You cannot continue with him playing as a left winger unless Hansi Flick says, I'm going to be using Felix as a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1 system. But I highly doubt that, because if you have Pedri and you have Gundogan, where is the room for Joao Felix? You also have to keep in mind Fermin Lopez, a player that definitely does give you what you want as a 10. And so we are going to be talking about Joao Felix in a few minutes. But I first want to get to another La Masia gem that we just have to talk about for today's video, and that is going to be Toni Fernandez. And it says here, according to Fabrizio Romano, that Toni Fernandez, a La Masia talent, has made the decision to stay at Barcelona and sign a new contract. Despite proposals from several clubs in Europe, Fernandez told Barcelona he wants to stay and he will sign a new deal. We also have Tony Juan Marti stating, just like Toni, his cousin Guli Fernandez will also continue at Barcelona. If there's not a radical change, he has always wanted to continue, and Barcelona consider him as a structural talent for the future. All that remains is to finish off the contract details. And so we are going to be focusing again on just Toni Fernandez, but it's just the fact that what's most important is that if Barcelona do renew Toni Fernandez, Guli Fernandez will also renew, right? These two players are together until the very end. It was reported back on April 5th that Toni Fernandez and Guli Fernandez, two pearls of La Masia, are both 15 years old and they're cousins. Guli is a midfielder and he became the youngest debutant for Barca Athletic 2 months ago and is considered a great pearl in the academy. For Toni, he's a left-footed forward who usually plays as a number 9, but he can also adapt as a number 8. He has always been playing above his age category, and he was training with Xavi Hernandez when he was here in the first team because Xavi Hernandez just loved his potential. So this is very exciting, and I gotta give props to Joan Laporte and Deco for being on it, because we have just renewed Casado. We're gonna be renewing Marc Bernal, Dani Rodriguez. We also just renewed Fermin Lopez. We're renewing so many La Masia talents, it's not even funny. And so to get back to Toni Fernandez, Toni Fernandez is a 15-year-old, soon to be 16 years old in 3 weeks, center forward, and can also play as a number 8. His contract has just expired, which is the reason why Barcelona are going to be renewing the player immediately. Toni Fernandez to me is a very special player because he kind of does play like Pedri in terms of the way that he does turn, the way that he does like to accelerate with the ball, and he can score a lot of goals. Even though yes, I do see him as an 8 or a 10, he is definitely much more as a 9. He's a complete player and a player who is always 2 steps ahead. His passing is strong, his vision is very strong, his technique is also very strong. There are some things that I believe he needs to improve on, like his off the ball movement, his work rate, especially in the defense. And I understand why defensively he may not be the very best because he's very lightweight. He's very much like Pedri back in 2019. But I mean, what else do you expect from a 15-year-old player? He will definitely gain some pounds and gain some muscle in the near future. So next season is going to be huge for the player. Not because I expect Toni to go into the first team, but mainly because I think that he'll move up to Barca Athletic officially. Unless like he impresses a lot and he explodes during preseason, which I doubt, even though it'll be nice. In the end, I do expect him to go to Barca Athletic and really grow from there. Because the fact that Marc Gui has just left to Chelsea, there is a spot open in the center forward position, and Toni can take advantage of that. The Barcelona Academy is not very well known for producing great center forwards forwards that eventually impact the first team. There are some great ones, but they never usually end up making it big. La Masia is known for producing great center backs and midfielders that eventually for sure go into the first team and make a great impact. But Toni, for example, hopefully can be the first example that can show to the world that La Masia has the capability to blossom great center forwards that impact the first team. So now I do want to move on towards the last conversation, and I do want to clear some things up. It was reported a few hours ago that Barcelona have confirmed that Joao Felix and Joao Cancelo will not continue, as you can see in this picture here. And we're all like, oh my god, I knew it. Barcelona are not going to be continuing with Felix or Cancelo and even Marcos Alonso. And it made sense, right? Because we also have to keep in mind, Felix and Cancelo have their loan deals expired. Like contractually, they're not even with Barcelona anymore because it is July 1st. And that is why this report came out. But here's going to be the confusing part. They deleted this post because they believe they made a mistake. What they were trying to say is, yes, their loan deals is over with FC Barcelona, but the title was misleading. What Barcelona were basically trying to say is the ties are cut, but they do want to continue with the two players. They're not necessarily leaving forever. Barcelona want to maintain Felix and Cancelo, and they're just going to have to renew their loan deals yet again. And that is why, as you can see in the picture here, the image has changed. It just says Alonso will not continue at Barcelona, but as for Cancelo and Felix, again, the title was misleading, which is why they took it down. Barcelona will try and renew their loan deals with Cancelo and Felix. We'll see what happens between these two players, because to be honest, I don't think Felix should continue, especially when we just talked about Jaden Philogene. Cancelo would make the most sense because I think if we want to reinforce the fullbacks positions, Cancelo is a great reinforcement. Now, if Barcelona end up going for Frimpong, a player that Hansi Flick doesn't want, then that also does change the conversation. I would not want to have Cancelo at the team if Frimpong is signed. But all of this is going to be talked about in a later video. That is going to be wrapping up for today's video, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.